Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I have Nick Huey, who is running for Congress in Utah's 4th Congressional District as a Republican, but he's running as a candidate of the far middle. So first off, thank you for being here with me. I truly appreciate you taking your time. And yeah, so the first thing I want to ask you is, why are you running for office?
Fix the divide. We've got a whole bunch of dividers in Congress that are getting all the media attention, and we need uniters. So we've got a few, but they're leaving. Adam Kinzinger just announced that he's leaving. He was one of the few, although he's talking smack with the far right now. Like he's really, and I'm not sure that I would talk smack as much as just go in there and say, hey guys, we need to get along, but we need functional relationships in Congress, and we don't have a lot right now.
Yeah, all right, I get that, because there is a lot of divide with our Congress men and women. So to viewers who don't understand what the far middle is, could you explain what that is?
Well, I think most of your viewers, I could be mistaken, but most people actually fall into the far middle, and they are alienated by the left and the right, who are just smacking each other constantly in Washington. Folks in the far middle believe in nuance, in pretty much every issue, from gun control to abortion to, climate change. Even they believe that both sides have value, and that we are actually at our best when both sides are working together and bringing their unique strengths to the table. I would say that the less unique strengths are an abundance of empathy, an ability to recognize the issues. And then I feel personally that the Republicans' solutions to those issues are quite a bit better. But Republicans lack that empathy, which is really unfortunate. So I think that when we blend both sides, we wind up getting some of the best solutions that our nation has to offer.
All right. So one of the big things of the Biden agenda was the infrastructure bill, which just got passed. How would you have voted on that bill?
I'm not sure. I've been asked this a lot. I'd have to get into the really nitty gritty of the bill. The thing is, it was bipartisan, but I'm not sure that it was crafted bipartisanly. I think that there were people that just wanted to get it out there. And so I've been pretty open that, first of all, I will never co-sponsor a bill without a Democrat. I believe that every meaningful bill has Democrats and Republicans on board from the get-go, working together to craft it. And it's not just one side holding the other side over a barrel. And I think that any bills that are voting along only partisan lines means that they started it the wrong way. So I'm not sure how I would have voted on that one. I would have to get really into the bill, which is thousands and thousands of different agenda items. But that's kind of what I got for you.
Okay. So let's say if you get elected, or even if you don't get elected, how would you fight to end the partisanship in our country?
One of the first things that I'll do, I'll tell you this. You've probably seen it if you're followed me on TikTok. One of the first things that I'd probably do is introduce an apology resolution, just to reintroduce function. In a relationship, let's say that you and I are best buds, and we're in high school, and we get into a fight. There's two ways that can go, right? We can either never get back together and like make up and become friends again, right? If I say that the Jazz is the best and you say Lakers are the best, and it gets to a point where we're just livid, we can either at some point come together and say, you know what, this is dumb. There are bigger, more important things to our friendship than this Lakers-Utah Jazz rivalry. Let's be friends again. Or we can continue to think, man, this other person is so deluded, and develop a worse and worse perspective of them until the relationship breaks and we never talk to each other again. You see the same thing happen. My dad's a marriage and family therapist, and you see the same thing happen over and over again in actual marriages, right? Either couples who will always have differences learn to work together despite those differences and allow their strengths to outweigh their weaknesses, or else they wind up getting a divorce. And unfortunately, we're at a fever pitch as far as dialogue goes in this country. We are more divided than we've been since the Civil War. And if we don't fix it, that's where we're headed. It's divorce.
And that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good at all.
So going to your original question, what do we do to fix it? Well, there's a lot of things that we need to be doing. One of the first things that I would do is apologize. In any functional relationship, an apology is a necessary part of coexisting, right? And so an apology isn't, hey, I'm going to apologize for this if you apologize for that. I'm going to apologize for being a jerk about the Utah Jazz, but only if you apologize about being a jerk about the Lakers. It's, hey, listen, in a heated moment, I messed up. I said stuff wrong, A, B, and C, and I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? And in that softening moment is when the other side, you're kind of baring your neck, and that person can either stomp on your throat, or what will usually happen is they'll say, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up too. I shouldn't have said that about Donovan Mitchell. He's a nice guy. And I shouldn't have said that, all you Utahns are racist pigs. I shouldn't have done it. So I believe that is a good first step, a gesture of goodwill. And then to continue to, after that, show willingness to work together. Like I said, I will only co-sponsor a bill with a Democrat or with multiple Republicans and multiple Democrats. But if there's not a Democrat on that bill, I'm not putting it out there, because we need to reestablish good faith in our politics.
And that kind of leads to another question of mine. What type of legislation would you introduce if elected?
So you can see a lot of stuff that I want on my site, right? There are things that I'm never going to get passed in my first year as a freshman member of the House, right? Things like term limits, ranked choice voting. Those systemic changes are the things that actually need to change in order to depolarize the system. But first and foremost, my main focus would be developing relationships with people in things like the Problem Solvers Caucus. That is this bipartisan, super level-headed caucus, developing key relationships there, and then getting the radicals out of office and getting moderates in who are willing to work together across the country. So what I'm doing right now is proof of concept. If it works, we got to get more of them in there. And then as far as things that I'm willing to put in there, anything that doesn't grow the size of government. It can't. I'm sick of Congress overstepping their bounds in the scope of legislation that they put up. So I don't want to grow the government more, but that still addresses key issues, right? That still takes care of the needy and is compassionate. So those are kind of my biggies. Is I think we need compassionate but fiscally conservative policies out there, and bipartisan.
All right. So this is the final one that I am asking you. The rest are from my viewers, but This is my personal favorite to ask because I love asking this question. What committees would you like to join if elected?
Absolutely the climate. Let's see, the Conservative Climate Caucus. Want to join that one. There was a Climate Solutions Caucus that was bipartisan, but I don't think they've really been convening much. I would totally join that. And then the Problem Solvers Caucus. Those would be like my top ones. I'm a big climate guy. I think it's the biggest threat to America and the world that there is. It's like people don't realize it's a huge, actually border conflict threat. It's not just about like, hey, we're going to be losing, it's going to be hotter summers and drier summers and colder winters. It creates mass immigration on a scale that we haven't seen anything like it. We think there's a border crisis now. There's not.
Yeah.
There is, and we need to fix it. But compared to what it will be with climate change, it's nothing. So I think that climate change isn't something that we have to address. I think conservatives have the best solutions, but they're not bringing them out. And then the Problem Solvers Caucus is just about kind of solving every issue in a bipartisan fashion, and that's what I'm all about. So definitely want to join them.
Well, I like that. That's a great thing to strive for. So the first question from a fan is, what are some positives and negatives that you see from the Joe Biden administration?
Good question. I've been disappointed in the Biden administration a bit. President Biden won and got my vote on a promise of, and I'm saying this as a Republican candidate, which is a big no-no, but Biden got my vote. He did, because he won as a uniter. He was going to unite the country. He was the healing presence that we needed. He's going to work with Republicans. But he kind of pivoted once he got into office and made it more about, I'm representing the Republican voters who don't really like the Republican leaders, which is a bit of a cop-out, in my opinion. And he kind of started to shove things through Congress and the Senate. And I wasn't a fan of that. I was bummed. I do think that President Biden also isn't as quick as he once was. I think Vice President Harris is not that impressive of a leader, and she's really not good at bringing people together. So I've been quite frustrated with that. I do think that Republicans share the blame. I think that we are looking for reasons for the other side to fail and to say, haha, all of these problems are on Democrats' heads right now because they've got the presidency. And that's just not what you do if you're looking out for the country and not the party, right? What you should be doing is saying, listen, here are the solutions, not haha, their solutions suck. So, but that's the biggest disappointment. As far as things that I've liked, there's a recent article about how there have been fewer drone strikes, which is interesting. I think that if there were needless drone strikes before, that's overall a very positive thing. Pulling out of Iraq the way that we did was obviously horrendous. I think both sides would pretty much agree that it was it was a fiasco. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I want to say more positive things.
Also, did you mean to say Afghanistan instead of Iraq? I just meant
yes. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. And so, but as far as positive things, man, the media cycle is so negative, it's hard to name them.
Yeah.
I do think that President Biden has been wanting to do something about climate. And I've liked that push. That has been something that has been sorely needed in the 4 years that President Trump was in office, and I'm glad that that's there.
The next question is, what do you think about Andrew Yang's Forward Party, and would you endorse an Andrew Yang run for president?
Of course. No, I love Yang. I was praying that man would win. I love Andrew Yang. Yeah, absolutely would endorse Andrew Yang for president over anybody that I've seen in the last 8 years, honestly. Well, yeah, over anybody I've seen in the last 8 years. He's just awesome, and he's his own thing. He's not really a Democrat, and he's certainly not a Republican. He's his own thing. Are there things that I disagree with? Yes. I don't think that he's I think we need a fiscally conservative Andrew Yang, which is something that I would try to bring to the table in Congress. But overall, he's a great human being. He's got some really, really revolutionary policies that he's pushing. And I think we need that kind of vision in Washington.
Would you ever, this is not a fan question, this is just one of my own questions. Would you ever consider joining the Forward Party?
I would, if it's the same question everybody has, which is I would if there were a chance of them winning. And there's, at this point, slim to none. I think that's part of why he's been willing to endorse candidates from either party, is because he's just trying to get good people into office. And he probably realizes that they're not going to come out and make up 1/3 of Congress, even though their views and ideals might represent 1/3 or more of Americans, much better than our current two parties. The two-party system has gamed it in a way that it's going to be very difficult for him to break in. So anyway, I am fighting for policies that would make it easier for him and libertarians and Tea Party candidates and others to get in, like ranked choice voting, because I believe ideological diversity is great. I very much am a fan of having many parties in there, all vying to win, almost like a marketplace, vying to win the hearts and minds of Americans, rather than just two parties that have created an artificial duopoly, forcing Americans to choose between two things they don't want.
Yeah, because it's hard as a third party candidate to win anything nowadays.
It's impossible. Yeah, no, the only candidates we have in Congress who are independent or something else got in first as Democrat or Republican, and then they got enough support that they said, I can change my party. So that is something I would consider doing if the Forward Party lined up with my ideals. There are a few things that right now that might need to change, but that is something I would consider doing.
You seem to have a lot of support online. but are you worried that you might not have enough support in your district?
Yeah. So for online support, it's been great. I've been very humbled by that support. It has helped in my district. TikTok feeds those videos to people that are geographically close to me, which is perfect. But as far as getting in-district support, it's going to become a lot easier the closer we get to the actual election. So that's kind of the short answer. It's already strong, but it's only going to get stronger as we go on.
And also, left or right endorses Nick Huey for Congress. Also, by the way, so if you're from Utah's 4th Congressional District, make sure you cast your vote June 28th, 2022. Right? Is that the election date? I think that is.
It's in June. Yeah, it sounds right. Cast it around there. Yeah.
Vote Nick Huey if you're a Republican, and then if he wins a general election, vote Nick Huey because he is the candidate that can actually fix the problems that we have in Congress. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
And yeah, thank you guys for watching as well. And we will see you next time.
You're the man, Zane. Thank you.